Now, as a parent, we all know our main job is to teach our children the right values, how to be decent people, how to take responsibility, and ultimately how to live happy and fulfilled lives. But finances are part of that picture, whether we like it or not. Now, money affects stress, choices, and freedom, and it's one of the areas where, as parents, we can generally influence the outcomes of our children without realizing it, really. So most people assume helping kids financially means big decisions, university fees, house deposits, or just being the bank of mum and dad. And while those things are still relevant, they're not the whole story. Now, the truth is that small amounts put aside early can actually quietly and dramatically improve the later years of a child's life without any large sacrifices and without pressure. I'm going to show you how. So I've had feedback before, that this shouldn't be necessary, and that once children are adults, their finances are their responsibility. And in principle, that is true. But the reality is that financial behaviour is hard to learn, habits are hard to change, and most people only truly understand the consequences of money decisions after time has already done its damage. So this isn't about removing responsibility. It's about recognising that time is the one advantage children cannot create for themselves. Now, you'll often hear claims like £50 a month can turn into £1 million. Now, this isn't a promise, not advice, it's a lesson about time. So let me show you what's actually going on. £50 a month from birth to age 21, £600 a year, using long-term stock market, adjusted for inflation, which is around 7%, it grows to 25,000 by 21. Now, on its own, very helpful, but not life-changing. What matters is what happens next. Now, if you stop at 21 and do nothing, that 25,000 is then left alone, no more contributions, just simply compounding until the age of 60. At 7% real returns, it becomes about £380,000. Now that is the key insight, because most of the growth happens after the saving has stopped. Time does the heavy lifting. Now, even in a conservative case, if the returns are lower, say 5%, it's 20,000 by 21, 150,000 by 60. So this isn't about optimism or perfect markets, it's about starting the clock early. Now, if we did it differently and put a lump sum at birth, say £5,000, and we left it untouched, it would be 20,000 by 21, 165,000 by 60. Same lesson, slightly different route, but it's early timing beats late effort. Now, if we combine the early action with normal adult pension contributions, so let's take minimum salary, £22,000, with an 8% minimum government contribution, 5 plus 3, contributing about £100 per month. After that, that combination from 21 to 60 adds to that, and then it makes a combination of £400,000 in today's money. And it's not because parents have sacrificed everything, it's because the pressure was reduced early on. Now, let's be honest, money is tight for most people, costs are high, life is busy, and few parents feel like they have spare cash lying around. But what quietly hurts people financially isn't the income, it's the drift. We all leak money through subscriptions, convenient spending, lifestyle upgrades, reactive decisions, and those leaks just compound, just as reliably as investments do, but just in the wrong direction. So when you see that the impact of £50 or £100 a month can have over decades, it changes the question. It's no longer maybe, do I have spare money? It becomes, is this important enough to make it intentional? And so for some people, that means managing costs slightly better, or it means cancelling things that don't matter, or deliberately redirecting money that's already been leaking. So for others, it might mean that a small amount of side income is needed, or occasional extra work, or deciding in advance what happens to birthday money or gifts from grandparents. It doesn't have to be forever, it's just enough to get the clock started. Then there's one final angle that matters here. A lot of money gets passed on very late in life, sometimes to children in their 50s or 60s, or even straight to grandkids. And then by then it's helpful but rarely transformative. What really changes the outcome isn't just how much is passed on, it's when. So if money is going to be given away, earlier matters far more than later. Early money compounds for longer, and it improves choices and often avoids reactive decisions. So later money adds comfort, but it's about recognizing that money is the most powerful before the hardest years are already over. Now, this isn't about doing everything for your kids. It's about recognizing that time is the one advantage they cannot create for themselves. Once they're adults, responsibility, yes, is theirs, but starting earlier, even modestly, is something only parents and family can actually influence. So the final takeaway here isn't really the mass. It's simply that the small, early, intentional actions will outperform the big, late, stressful ones. So if you're already planning to help your kids, in some way one day, or if your grandparents are thinking to do the same, the most powerful shift you can make is simply to just start earlier and let the time do the work. If this has helped you think differently about planning for your kids or grandkids, please like and subscribe. I focus on helping people see things before the cost of that inaction gets too high. Thank you.